Welcome to Talking Giants, presented by John Boy Media. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. Got our 49ers preview today, so we got an interview coming up with a 49ers beat writer. Well, you don't want to know his name is? It's just KP show. It's just KP. Anyways, so we have that. Then we'll have Danny joining us for our fantasy draft, predictions, all that good stuff. I'm here with Justin Pennick. Justin, how you doing, my man?
Bobby Skinner, hello. We're playing a football game on Sunday, just in case you didn't know. I'm glad it's Friday. I just got done with removing furniture from my grandmother's house. I'm glad and lucky I didn't pass my kidney stone while I was doing it. And we recently got a YouTube comment that's one of my new favorite YouTube comments. And it was like, y'all are really starting off your show by talking about a kidney stone? That's disgusting. And I replied and I said, this is just what's on our minds. And if we don't get off of our chest what's on our minds, it's going to be like a terrible show. So welcome to Talking Giants. Talking Kidney Stones.
Welcome to Talking Giants. This episode is brought to you by Eric Feldman. Eric Feldman.
Friend of the program, yes.
He brought you the show. He is a friend of the program. How did he bring us the show?
Oh, all right, well, he brought us the show because, first of all, he found us on social media. He interacts with, at least myself, Bobby. He probably hates you. Interacts with us a lot on social media, but he subscribed for $2 a month to patreon.com/Talking Giants, and Eric now has access to shirt raffles, which we will do eventually. And
I already did them this past week.
Oh, look at that. See, I am so out of the loop. So we already did the shirt raffles, so it's going to be twice a month. You can do those. You also get to see us record our takes and record the podcast live. We're doing it live.
We talk about politics afterwards.
We do. We do talk about politics afterwards. So if you really want to hear our takes on that, if you want to hear Giants podcasters talking politics, subscribe to talkinggiants.com / nope, that's not it. Patreon.com/Talking Giants.
All right, let's get into this game.
Do we have to?
One, the Giants, let's focus on the 49ers a little bit. Obviously, they are beat up like crazy. And you don't wish for injuries on guys, but if they're going to have injuries, let them happen the week before they play your favorite team. I'll always root for that. And I know, just not having those guys is a huge advantage to us. But they are really down. They are down that they have to play in this stadium again. I know they're blaming the stadium when I really think it's just bad luck. But
everywhere.
I love that their focus is not on beating the Giants. It's on we got to play in this stadium and morale down. Give us anything. I'm not trying to beat the best teams. I just want to win a freaking game. Give us one friggin' win, New York Giants.
They had to stay in West Virginia for the week, which I don't think that's a fun place. Don't think West Virginia's a fun place. Out of all the places that they could have stayed, why there? So I guess, but is 49ers, are they related to Mountaineers, West Virginia Mountaineers? So are the mascots related? It's like that call that Mike Francesa got. Do the San Francisco Giants and the New York Giants ever get together for dinner? Yeah, Bobby.
Haven't been able to find a video of a 49er being shot yet.
That's very odd. You would think you think there would definitely be evidence of gold miners getting shot on the internet. Hi, Mom. My mother walked in as I was talking about people getting shot. Love you, Mom. Yeah, they're beat up. The one thing that I am nervous about, though, because the 49ers are so beat up, Kyle Shanahan's a pretty good coach, outside the Super Bowl, you could say. Kyle Shanahan is a pretty darn good coach, and what he does, I may even drop a post-editing, post-recording a little soundbite. It's been a while since I dropped a soundbite, but Joe Judge was talking about this today, and he hit the nail on the head. How Kyle Shanahan, why he is such a great coach and why he is such a great, especially offensive mind, is because he is going to find the weaknesses on your defense, and he is going to exploit them. Kyle Shanahan, in a way, is an evaluator of football teams himself, because depending on who he's targeting, that's who he views as the weak part of your defense. So keep your eye on whoever's playing cornerback too. And also, it's going to relate to my Giant factor on who I think we should keep an eye on as well. But that's what he does best.
I think we're going to talk about the defense with the Giant factor a little bit. So let's focus on the offense. Nick Mullins should be starting. I think it's pretty much a guarantee that Nick Mullins will be starting a quarterback. We faced him a couple of years ago. He's just not good. He can win you a game as a backup QB, but The worry is though is that Garoppolo was not like the reason for their success. He was like the least like important person for their success. Obviously, you have to have a competent QB to win, but that's all they're asking Mullins to be is to be competent, and I don't think that's impossible. What led to their success was their defense and that Kyle Shanahan running game.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, because this was a little bit of a conversation on social media this week, and you have very strong opinions on Jimmy G and Jimmy Garoppolo. Would you rather see and face Mullins or Jimmy Garoppolo? Who would you rather face if as Bobby Skinner, who would you rather face?
Nick Mullins, easy.
Okay.
There's a reason Garoppolo was made the guy.
It was a conversation this week. It was a conversation.
Yeah, definitely Nick Mullins. I mean, that year he did play 64% completion percentage, a little over 2,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, which isn't a good touchdown to interception ratio. So it's not like he's a backup that just dinks and dunks. So he might actually give us some shots. Obviously, they didn't have the same like running game that they do now back then, or the defense to back it up, even though the defense is banged up as well. So yeah, I would rather face Nick Mullins. Other injuries, I'm pretty sure Kittle's going to play. Like, he's been practicing. He looked fast in practice. George Kittle should play. But that being said, Jordan Reed, like, he had 5 catches and 2 touchdowns in the last game for them. He has, when everyone said this guy needs to retire because of concussions, he is actually back, and he's freaking scoring points. All the Reds or Washington players are doing good for the San Francisco. Trent Williams has been good for them. He demolished the guy in week 1. So they've still got good players. I know they're injured, and their best players are injured, like, Bosa and Mozart, and then D Ford, but they've still got good players on that team.
And because they have, and that's the thing, and I'm so scared of this game. I was way more optimistic about this Bears game last weekend rather than this game right now, because I'm still scared of the roster that is still left. The superstars that may be out, and Kittle may not be 100%, so that's a huge factor that he may not even be 100%, but he's probably going to be playing. Their 2 starting running backs are going to be out. McKinnon, which is crazy that Jerick McKinnon is their 3rd-string running back, and obviously Bosa on the defensive side as well. We already talked about that, but this roster still made a Super Bowl, and this head coach is one of the best coaches in the NFL. And for those 2 reasons alone, that's why this matchup scares me more than it did the Chicago Bears and I guess even the Steelers, because we just don't know what we're going up against right now.
Yeah, but it doesn't scare. I mean, I'm definitely glad they're down, so it's not like we're scared of them. But yeah, it's definitely an advantage to be playing injured players. On their defense, Fred Warner and Quan Alexander. Do you think? I mean, there's probably not maybe the Cowboys have a better inside linebacker duo than those 2. I mean, Quan was really good. He was a huge improvement to their defense. And then Fred Warner, I mean, he is like a do-it-all type of linebacker. So that'll be interesting to see how they play the run game. They still have they drafted Javon Kinlaw in the 1st round, who I think Nick Gates versus Javon Kinlaw will be huge. Like, that'll be a good test for Nick Gates to see how they do.
Yeah, they were talking about, Kinlaw's from South Carolina, I believe. And they were talking about, as the draft was approaching, is Kinlaw better than Matt Rule's boy in Carolina right now?
Derek Johnson. What was the guy's name? No, not Derek
Brown.
Johnson. Derek Brown, the guy we were all afraid to draft.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be a good test. And the 49ers last year, as good as their defense was, they never blitzed. Like, I think they were the least blitz-happy team in the NFL last season because they were able to get there with Bosa, with all those other, with Ford, with Armstead. So it's going to be interesting to see if now that those guys are out, that they do try some blitzing. Richard Sherman's out. I mean, this team is really banged up. And like you said, I guess that is like kind of a thing. It's like, we really don't know what to expect from this team. Like, we have no clue what to expect from this team because all their key players are out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my scary thing, especially because the Giants have not been successful at running the football. Bobby, I actually made you guess pre-show, and the Patreon chat got to hear. I made you guess pre-show. What are the Giants averaging yards per carry wise? Just overall, not quarters 1 through 3. I usually like to break things down, but overall, what are they averaging? They're averaging 2.7 yards per carry. I'm all for, and we've been talking about this for the last 2 weeks. I'm all for throwing the ball and being aggressive with throwing the ball and throwing the ball most of the time. But that's unacceptable to just have a running game that's non-existent. And we don't know what we're going up against. We don't know what we're going up against in the secondary. We don't know what we're going to go up against in the front seven. But
Yeah, we need that run game to open up the play action a little bit too on the back end.
It's debatable, but yeah, sure.
Me and Justin fought about that earlier, and we hadn't had an argument in a while, so it was good. It was good to have a nice argument over that. Anyways, anything else before you want to kick it to the interview? I mean, we're gonna hit on a lot of stuff in the fantasy draft and all that.
No. I'm glad to listen to this interview because if you didn't pick it up, I don't know too much about this 49er team. I don't think anybody really does unless you took intentional time to sit down to see, who was on this 49er depth chart. But I'm excited to see and to hear.
Talented players all around, but just not,
They made a Super Bowl, and that's why I'm still scared. Whereas a lot of Giants fans are like, we need to take advantage of this, and it's unacceptable if the Giants don't take advantage of it. So I'm being a little cautious. I'm being personally cautious.
We're a bad team. The 49ers, we said this is the week we want to face the 49ers. The 49ers are saying this is the week to be injured, is facing the Giants. So we are better than the Jets, though. I watched the Jets. The Jets are really bad. Darnold is not good. I held out hope for Darnold. I like Darnold. Darnold's not good. And Mekhi Becton is really good. All right. Let's kick it to the interview, and bam. All right, we now welcome on of Niners Nation, Kyle Posey. He writes for them, does a lot of 49ers stuff, covering the 49ers. Kyle, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. So we'll jump right into it. You guys are banged up, but you said this earlier that one of the Giants reporters asked if Kyle Juszczyk was going to be the lead ball getter. Can you let us know which one that one is? Because Giants fans would love to figure out who asked that question.
I don't remember. It was a woman. I don't remember what her name was. There was like 47 people on the call at that point.
Yeah, I know. They fill them up. But I was going through your Twitter and I was like, there's some usual suspects. I'm like, who would ask this question? But no, it's good stuff. But on a serious note, you guys are the 49ers are banged up. And we'll start at the top. Jimmy Garoppolo most likely out. Nick Mullins going to play. The Giants are familiar with Nick Mullins, that Monday Night Football game a couple years ago. I mean, what is the 49ers fan and reporter expecting out of Nick Mullins? Is it like, hey, this guy can actually be similar to Garoppolo, or can have to take it easy on him?
So there's going to be a drop off. I saw a little bit of training camp that Nick Mullins did struggle in training camp, so he was going against the starting defense, and that was when the 49ers actually had a starting defense and weren't without 8 starters. But Mullins does have starting experience. He played in 2018, and he looked competent, and that was without the same type of supporting cast he's going to play with right now. And he said himself earlier this week that this is my 4th year. There's no excuses for me. So I like that mindset, and we're hoping that he's just, as I said, competent. Like, he's not going to look like a mess. And I feel like with the backup quarterback, that's exactly what you want.
Right. What are his limitations? Because, Garoppolo, he hasn't lit the league up, but you can trust him to do, make most throws. Is there any limitations you guys are expecting out of Mullins, or is it just not, processing things the way a starter would?
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. So there's definitely like a cap on the offense. There's a ceiling on the offense now that Mullins is in the game. So we saw it a little bit last week with the Jets. He comes in and he fumbles twice. He takes sacks. He does a few of the things that Garoppolo isn't going to do. There's probably not that much of a difference as far as their arm talent goes. Garoppolo has a better arm, but Mullins can get away with some of the same things. It's just as far as processing, as you mentioned.
Right. So Kittle might be back. If not, you guys have Jordan Reed. So I think we can expect a player at tight end. But the receiving group, I'm having a hard time. What is the idea of it? Is it hey, we're waiting on Ayuk to be the guy? Is it Trent Taylor is solid, or Kendrick Bourne, who's been your leading receiver? Is it is he a trusted guy to not be a number your prototypical number one, but be in that number one out of the receiving group? I mean, what if you had to explain your receiving group to me? What would it be?
Yeah, so the big issue is there's no Deebo Samuel, and they rely on him quite a bit just for like the easy pass, just for like something simple as a slant. So they're relying on Brandon Ayuk, who's their first-round pick. He looked like a deer in headlights last week, but that was his first game because he did not play in the week one. So here's a stat for you. The 49ers only have 5 completions to a receiver all season, and that's lined up as an actual receiver. So, yeah, they can definitely use Deebo Samuel back, but Trent Taylor's not really cutting it. Kendrick Bourne, he actually does look pretty good. And when I say that, I mean in the sense of like, what you would think of a wide receiver 3. But you're not going to go into an NFL game expecting Trent Taylor and Kendrick Bourne to kind of carry your offense, and that's what it's kind of been on the outsides, just because they don't have their threats.
Right. And so you guys are known for running the ball. Obviously, Mo starts out, but you have McKinnon who came in and had a big run. It was fun to watch Alec Ogletree, as a Giants fan, overflow on that one toss play. Is that the mindset of the 49ers nation right now? Is like, we are going to have to pound the rock and do it successfully, and just like, or is it because you have injuries everywhere? I mean, what's the mind? Like, what do you guys think the offense is going to look like? Is it going to be like just pound the rock like you guys did in the playoffs?
Yeah, so that's the problem. Raheem Mostert's out, and their backup Tevin Coleman is out as well. So they're going to be without their top 2 running backs and their starting quarterback, which that doesn't really happen across the NFL. So, but it is a Kyle Shanahan offense, and you would think that even with a 4th, 3rd string, whoever the running back is going to be, they'll be able to get some production. So Kyle Shanahan said he's not going to close the playbook under Nick Mullins, and they're still going to run the same type of offense. I would imagine we see a heavy dose of Jerick McKinnon out of the backfield, just throwing the ball to him instead of turning around and handing the ball off. Wow.
Did you guys sign Paul Perkins? I know he went and visited. Did you guys end up picking him up?
Nope, they did work out, as you mentioned. They worked out 3 or 4 running backs earlier this week, but there was no Paul Perkins to be signed.
Okay, because he started a playoff game for us a few years ago, so it was funny to see him pop up on that workout list. I'll move to the defense. Obviously, you guys have injuries there, especially up front, but I think you still have talent. Kinlaw still have talent up there, and then your linebacker core with Warner and Alexander is as good of a duo at that spot as any. Sherman's out, and the secondary is probably not like the most well-known spot. What is just give me the general thoughts of the secondary right now. What is there an issue, or is there one guy that teams should target? I mean, where are you guys at there?
Yeah, so if there's going to be a guy to target, it's probably Achille Witherspoon. So he was benched twice last year, and that was on a defense that was like historically great against the pass. So he just struggled, and with Richard Sherman being out, he's back into the starting lineup. I do wonder if they're going to play Jason Verrett. I don't know if you remember that name. He was once upon a time a really good cornerback, but he's injuries all of his life, it seems like. And now he's healthy, so that'll be interesting to see if he plays. But, yeah, like that, Witherspoon is the guy we want to attack. Last week, the Jets, who were without essentially all of their receivers as well, targeted Witherspoon 8 times, and he gave up 6 receptions for over 100 yards. He struggles. And on the other side, Emmanuel Mosley, he's actually solid, but he committed a pass interference last week, and that was against the Jets receivers. And the week before, DeAndre Hopkins just ate him alive.
So how would a team attack with the 49ers defense, the front, the front 4 are banged up. Is it like hey, get the ball out quick and make plays kind of defense? Or is it like, hey, we can get burnt and have, a couple of deep shots taking us on the sideline or over the middle?
And if we're judging, that's a good question. If we're judging based off how they looked last week, we'll probably see a lot of targets to Achille Witherspoon. So the 49ers are rotating their cornerbacks, and Witherspoon plays the wide side of the field, and he gives up so much cushion. And the Jets were able to kind of give up those curl routes. And so I'd imagine we see a lot of timing routes from Slayton, like out routes and curl routes. And
right.
If it does come up, that's when you can go over top.
Yeah, I think that's, as a Giants, that's the guy. It's like, hey, Slayton, this is the game where you need to have a big game. Let me ask you this: what are your thoughts on Daniel Jones? You can trash him. I don't care. But I like to ask what other people's thoughts are on our young QB.
So I have a mixed bag on Daniel Jones, because if we take the first game of the season where they're on the road or where they're playing the Steelers, so he has good throw, and then he just does a knucklehead thing that you just can't do. And that drives me insane with young QBs, and I'm sure it drives his play caller. But he can win you games. He can play outside of the structure. He can move a little bit, and he has an arm. He just needs to make good decisions, and that's something that's still holding him back. But, man, the 49ers players respect him, and so does the defensive coordinator. They were kind of hyping him up this week, and they actually said their safety, who Jaquiski Tartt, who's a really good player, he said that the media is a little too harsh on Jones and he can make plays. And with the weapons that they have with Golden Tate and Darius Slayton, I do think that they're actually going to give the 49ers some problems.
Yeah, that's the thing with Jones is what I will say is I like that, like you said, he can make plays, but he has those bad decisions. I would rather take that than the guy who makes the right decision, but it's like the Alex Smith types that are, people compare him to Alex Smith, and I think maybe like mechanics, like play, like what he has, but like play style, they're, Jones can be overly aggressive. Although he's been dialing it back a little bit, but like you said, the dumb mistakes have cost the Giants so far. Kyle, thanks for coming on, man. We'll make sure to tag you and everything. I appreciate it. You guys are doing good work over at Niner Nation. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Take care.
You too, man. Week 2 of football is in the books, and now it's time to review the tape and get ready for Week 3. There is no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of Week 3, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to turn $1 into $100 when they bet on any team. That's right. You can place a $1 bet on any team, and if that team wins, you cash a cool Benjamin. That's a $100 bill, folks. How could you pass that up? Don't worry if football isn't for you. DraftKings is giving all you MMA fans the same great offer to use for this weekend's UFC 253. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOHNBOY when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. Pick any team during week 3, bet $1 on them to win $100 if they win. That's $1 to win $100 when you use promo code JOHNBOY during sign-up. For a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we now welcome Danny King onto the show with the weather. What's the weather looking like in East Rutherford, weatherman Dan?
I mean, the weather, it's gonna be like a weird warm September day, if you ask me. It's gonna be humid and mostly cloudy. You got a temperature 68, but you see the fun part is the feels like temperature is gonna be 78. That's 2 more degrees than the actual temperature. Wild stuff. The wind's 8 miles per hour out of the south, and the humidity 86%. And a new topic I'm bringing in this week is called the field conditions. The turf. Who knows what it's going to be like this week? I heard it's going to be good. Maybe the 49ers just struggle at AstroTurf, or maybe, yeah. I mean, the turf's going to be good. They just overreacted. So turf report good.
They did. Stop blaming the turf for your bad luck, 49ers.
We lost Saquon. You lost Nick. Yes, you lost Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, and Jimmy Garoppolo all in one game. Guess what? We lost Saquon. So it's the equivalent right there.
And Sterling. And
Sterling Shepard to turf toe. And also,
speaking of turf.
Yeah, someone said toe. That is sounds like a nothing injury, but it lingers forever. So they gotta change that. Turf toe sounds like a nothing injury.
Yeah. Yep. All right. This is the segment where we do fantasy. So what we do is to highlight some of the matchups. We do a fantasy draft, 4 rounds out of only guys that are in this game. So only from the Giants or 49ers. Through 2 weeks, Danny is the leader with 90.8 points. He had 40.5 last week. Justin is second with 62 points. He had 24.1 last week. And I'm in last place with 42.6 points. I had 13.9. I had Saquon last week.
Can we get that clip up where he called us out in week 1 and now he's last? What
Listen,
is that?
All water finds its level. Minor setback for a major comeback. Mamba mentality. I will come back in these fantasy football standings.
Danny needs to take a bye week.
My strategy is don't overthink it. Just pick the player, and it's worked out perfectly for me. Also,
but that's my strategy
Giants.
too.
Don't pick out many Giants.
Well, Justin's one who overthinks it. He's right in the middle of the pack. So, yeah. So it's a revolving schedule. I have the first pick. If there was one of these weeks where I didn't want the first pick, it was this week. Danny, you'll pick second. Justin third.
This is a terrible week.
This is because there's no
dreadful.
there's no
dreadful.
there's no like sure thing. We have no idea who's going to step on the 49ers. So what I'm going to do is the guy who has the biggest potential, and that's Darius Slayton. He's the only guy where you can say, hey, he's going to have 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and you don't feel like, whoa, wow, that'll be crazy. So we don't know how the 49ers are going to use McKinnon. We have no idea how the Giants are going to use their running back stable, which we probably should talk about a little more, but we will. So I'm going Darius Slayton with pick 1. Thoughts?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, like, he's probably the number 1 receiver, and then you got Tate. So I would have taken Slayton if he was still on the board.
No Sherman, so that's definitely interesting, and that definitely helps. Darius Slayton last week was a little quiet. I'd be interested to see, especially with Shepard out now, how they prioritize getting him the ball. You would hope that is a priority for the Giants this week.
And Jones has been getting the ball out very quickly. I thought that was a good game plan for the first 2 weeks. But now let's open it up. Let's bring back aggressive Daniel Jones. Take some chances. I don't want dink and dunk. And Jason Garrett, for the love of God, run some plays where 2 people go deep and actually go deep. Don't run. I mean, if I have to watch another 18-yard curl, I'm going to lose my mind. So open up that playbook. Let Daniel Jones make some freaking plays. Let him air it out. Let Darius Slayton make some plays. I'm going Slayton with pick 1. Danny, who do you got?
See, I thought – now this is something I did think of. Go back to Chicago last week. David Montgomery just ate us alive at times. Whoever the other running back was it Cohen? So I'm gonna go out here, and I'm taking Jerick McKinnon. I feel like the 49ers are going to rely on him, and whoever the other guy is what? Jeff Wilson Jr., I believe the guy's name is.
Yeah.
They're going to run with McKinnon because depending on Kittle, who knows what he's going to be like. You go back in 2018, Nick Mullins' best play in all 2018 was going to George Kittle. It worked every time. George Kittle, we don't know if he's 100% or not. So only the 49ers are going to pound the rock, but they get the same luck the Bears last week. Give me McKinnon in for my first pick.
Yeah, I had McKinnon as number 2 on my big board too, so good pick. I mean, just any running back against the Giants, like he's going to be the clear number 1, you know? Maybe Paul Perkins will have a big game. Anyways, Justin, who do you got with pick 3?
Sheesh. All right. We don't exactly know George Kittle's status, and I've taken too many players so far that have been just total duds. Anthony Miller, I'm pretty sure, was on my team last week, and he had 0 catches for 0 yards. I picked a Steelers running back that didn't even play week 1. So I need 2 guys that I know are going to play and have had some production to start the season. Evan Ingram was actually, if we're doing fantasy by PPR measures, I believe he had 6 catches for 60-something yards last week. So that's a solid 12 points. That was half of my fantasy points last week. So give me Evan Ingram. And then I have the come around pick because we're doing snake draft. Give me also Jordan Reed. So I'm going heavy tight ends. Those guys have actually been productive. At least I know that they're going to get catches. They may not get yards. They may not get touchdowns. But at least I know that these tight ends are going to get volume because they're going to be relied on, especially if Kittle is on limited reps. And Evan Ingram is also going to be lining up as a wide receiver this week.
Yeah. We'll actually, you bring up Ingram playing wide receiver. I really do think he's going to actually play wide receiver because, maybe they bring up one of the practice squad guys, but going into another game with 4 wide receivers, I feel like that's a recipe for disaster. But with Evan Ingram, it can be kind of like 5. With Reed, man, he's shown up out of nowhere. I remember when the 49ers signed him, like, oh, that's kind of cool. He'll probably be like their 3rd-string tight end. Kittle goes down, and he was their main target last week. So I like the Jordan Reed pick. Danny, pick 2. Who do you got?
All right, so with the second pick, I was stuck between George Kittle and Golden Tate because the Giants are obviously down on without Sterling Shepard, Saquon Barkley, so you would think Golden Tate has a big game. And then George Kittle, who knows how big he's going to be with the injury, so I'm going to take the risk. Give me Golden Tate. I'm going to hope Daniel Jones targets him, gets him a few catches. He takes advantage of missing Sterling Shepard. Give me Golden Tate.
Yeah, Slayton or Tate has to have some reps. It'll be interesting to see how they use Tate and Ingram in the slot, if they even put Tate outside a little bit. Tate. I feel like Tate isn't like the craziest of bet. I mean, he had a little bit of production in his first game. Remember his first game back last year, he only had 1 catch. So Tate put up big numbers last year. He doesn't get a ton of separation, but he does. He has production, so I don't mind Golden Tate there. And then I'm going to go I am going to go George Kittle. I am taking that chance. He's their best player on their entire football team when everyone's healthy. So I will go George Kittle. I got to take a risk. I'm risking it for the biscuit this week. And then sweeping back around, I don't really like any of their wide receivers. I'm taking a chance with this one, man. I'm calling Devontae Freeman. Do you guys think Devontae Freeman's going to be – Justin, I'll start with you. Do you think Devontae Freeman will be the lead back for this game, even though he's only had a couple days of practice?
You know, the Giants, Bobby, you've been talking about this. You especially talked about it on Wednesday's show. The Giants' rushing offense in particular doesn't seem to be anything elaborate and too creative where it would take so long for him to get the playbook down. I mean, before this week, the Giants players have had 12 padded practices. So unlike previous summers where he would be, maybe sometimes 20 to 30 padded practices behind, he's only 12 padded practices behind. So definitely he's going to be relied on third down, I feel. Especially if his skills can also include pass blocking, if his skills can include a little bit of pass catching as well. And he's definitely going to be the red zone back. I mean, he's big. He can drive. He can hit a hole hard. He's definitely going to be our red zone back too. So for fantasy purposes, it's not a bad pick.
And but the thing that scares me is I can see Judge being like, he just came in. We don't give anybody a spot. And then like Deion Lewis and Wayne Gallman getting all the touches and Freeman getting 4. So that's the part that scares me. But I think Devontae Freeman is a clear upgrade over those two. And like you said, inside zone, outside zone, power O, a crack toss, and duo. Like those are the only run plays we're running. And those are high school run plays. So
yeah,
there's no reason for Freeman to not have the playbook. I get maybe not being conditioned, but I don't think we're going to ask him to have 18 freaking carries.
Now, see, I want to thank you for actually taking Devontae Freeman because I am actually indeed taking Deion Lewis because I don't believe he will be the lead back. I mean, he'll get obviously his carries, but I think he's still so new here. He had to go through the whole testing process. He probably was obviously reading the playbook, but I don't think they're going to give him the load week 1, or at least this week. I think they're going to give it to Deion Lewis because you look at last week when Deion Lewis played, he had 16 fantasy points in the snaps he played. So, obviously, he had a touchdown to that. So, give me Deion Lewis to be the pass-catching running back. He's going to get some nice runs in there. I'll even predict a touchdown from Deion Lewis that will take me over the edge this week.
Hey, Danny knows best. He is just dominating us. All right, Justin. You got your third and final pick.
Yeah. So, you would typically think Kendrick Bourne would be the guy to take off the board here. He is the San Francisco 49ers' number 1 wide receiver. But ideally, James Bradbury is following the San Francisco 49ers wide receiver and the San Francisco 49ers number 1 wide receiver. And James Bradbury has been having a hell of a start to the season. So you want to know what? He missed week 1. He came in week 2, had 2 catches on 3 targets for 21 yards. He was one of the tops in the NCAA last year in screen yards. Give me Brandon Ayuk. The Giants have been kind of getting gashed on defense with screens. We saw Tariq Cohen take a couple screens last week and be productive as a pass catcher. So the quick little plays that the Giants have given up the first 2 weeks in the screen game have been a little concerning. Teams also haven't run it that much, but I'm not stressing over it. But give Brandon Ayuk some screens and let him get some yards after the catch. Give me Ayuk as my final pick.
Yeah, that's a big boomer bust, because you could see them, him just not getting a ton of, being involved at all. But like you said, also with them being down, having the, Nick Mullins in there and being like, let's just get some quick stuff in. Let's get the rookie involved. So I don't hate it. Who do you have for pick 4?
Ooh, I got to fit one more guy in, right? All right, I got to take a Giant. This has to be – now I could take Board because technically CJ Board is going to be our number 3 wide receiver. Give me Caden Smith because Evan Ingram is going to be lining up as a wide receiver. I don't really think I do have 3 tight ends. I really don't think the Giants.
Jason Garrett of fantasy football.
Yeah. I'm running 13 personnel in my fantasy football squad this week. But yeah, give me Caden Smith. Bobby, Bobby and Danny, he's too good to not be involved not enough in this Giants offense. See, I feel like he's too good, and he's not great, but he's too good right now to just be non-existent in this offense.
Yeah, and he's kind of due. He's had 2 games where he hasn't put up any production. Um, so he is due. Danny, who are you going with your final pick?
See, this,
This is a scraps right
yeah,
here.
this is just pulling something out of nowhere. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is you guys discussed. This game is terrible. The 49ers are banged up, so there's no good options. Giants offense is trash, so there's no good choices there. I'm gonna just go out on a limb here. Give me Mohamed Sanu. I'm gonna hope he gets some snaps this week.
Wow. Okay.
And
Okay.
and the familiarity of Kyle Shanahan, I feel like that will play into their favor. Maybe he'll have Yadom on him or Ballantyne or someone like that. So give me Mohamed Sanu to be the guy out there this week.
All right. So I'm picking between Kendrick Bourne and CJ Board. And you know what? I'm just going to go, like you said, their leading receiver I am getting with the final pick in this scraps draft. I have to feel good about that. And it would be silly to just be like, oh, we're picking from scraps, and literally their leading receiver doesn't get picked. So I'm going Kendrick Bourne's with my final pick. So that leaves me with Darius Slayton, George Kittle, Devontae Freeman, Kendrick Bourne. Danny, you got McKinnon, Tate, Dion Lewis, Mohamed Sanu. Justin, you have Evan Ingram, Jordan Reed, Brandon Ayuk, and Caden Smith.
This is weirdly the most confident I've been about a squad. Weirdly.
I mean, you should be. Your other ones were pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I
worst
know you
I
had some
felt.
good stuff in there.
This is a terrible draft for me. I don't know why I took Mohamed Sanu. I'm just feeling dangerous today.
Yeah. You know what? Last time I was like, Danny, I can't believe you picked that guy and you won. So I'm not bashing Danny anymore until he actually loses. All right, Giant factors. So I get to go first this week. I know who Justin's is going to be, so I'm changing mine a little bit. I'm going Jabril Peppers, the Pep Man, Pepper. He has not been bad. Actually there was some bad plays against Pittsburgh, but against Chicago he wasn't bad. But come up and be a playmaker. This 49ers team is going to try and run the ball, and you'll talk about it a little bit with your Giant factor, Justin. We're doing a lot of 3 safety looks. Peppers has essentially been a linebacker. He was against Chicago at least. So Peppers, we need you to be a guy in the run game. And also, you're probably going to get called to cover either George Kittle or Jordan Reed, who are their best weapons on offense. I feel like Jabril Peppers is a huge part for this game against the 49ers. I'm going Jabril Peppers.
Yeah, the thing that separated this Giants defense from being bad or sometimes average to actually being a good group is that we haven't had playmakers. We've had good players. You look at a good player here, you look at a good player there. But James Bradbury made plays last week. His play led single-handedly to 2 separate interceptions, which changed the complexion of the entire game. We need more playmakers on this defense, and we're expecting Jabril Peppers to be that guy. 2 games in, we're not going to freak out, but time to step up, buddy. My Giant factor is going to be Blake Martinez. I mentioned in the first part of the show that Kyle Shanahan's strength as a head coach is finding the weaknesses in a defense or just in a particular group as a whole. Blake Martinez has been extremely, extremely strong to start the season, and he's really made a lot of people, including myself, that did not like the signing. He's made us eat crow. And we're 2 games in, so I'm not going to overreact to saying, oh, I'm totally wrong, and I should continue to eat crow. But
Eat crow.
There are some weaknesses that Blake Martinez has, and those show up on film. That shows up on film on coverage. Sometimes he can take funky angles in the run game, sometimes by being too aggressive or too conservative. Kyle Shanahan, if there's one guy that can really take advantage of it, it's Kyle Shanahan. So Blake Martinez, if he can really show consistency again on tape this week, then we're feeling really, really good about this signing.
I was thinking about making Devontae Downs mine, but I knew you were going to do Blake Martinez.
He's not on the field enough.
Well, that is why he's my Giant factor this week, because last year when I went to go watch Blake Martinez film when we signed him as a free agent, I went and watched, and I was like, why are the Packers doing these 3 safety looks against the San Francisco 49ers? They are getting torn up. And that's when Blake Martinez says, I had to do cleanup. That was a game where it's like Blake Martinez couldn't be aggressive. So we need Blake Martinez to be aggressive. And I think either Downs or Crowder have to step up and play real reps this week. To do 3 safety against the 49ers, maybe it works. But I feel like I've loved the 3 safety looks, but this is a game where you need a second inside linebacker. Not Lorenzo Carter playing inside linebacker, not Kyler Fackrell. We need an actual inside linebacker, not a hybrid, playing inside linebacker next to Martinez. So I like that.
Honestly, those are two very good picks. The Blake Martinez, I'm not, I can't say I was like, like, oh, I mean, like Blake Martinez is the best free agent pick of the Giants have ever made. I was like, oh, it's gonna be an improvement over Gallup Ogletree. Jabril Peppers, obviously, he hasn't done anything this year. He had his season cut short because of that injury last year. So my Giant factor this week, I'm going offense because I took him in fantasy. Golden State was signed to be a quality piece to this offense. He has done fairly nothing, in my opinion. He's done stuff, but he hasn't blown anyone away with his contract. And now Giants are without Sterling Shepard. They're without Saquon Barkley. Evan Ingram's had his struggles this year. Daniel Jones is going to need to have a quality receiver to rely on, and Darius Slade is going to probably receive a good amount of the coverage from the 49ers because him and Jones have that connection. So I think this is a game that Tate really needs to go out and show he was a good signing by the Giants, prove Dave Gettleman right that he was the correct guy to bring in, and bring some light to his offense because his offense sucks. Has done nothing, it feels like, especially that first half of the Bears game. They did nothing.
Guys are just not getting open. Like
Exactly.
I know Justin talks about our separation last year, but there has been a difference from this year to last year in the separation with wide receivers. There has been zero. I went and watched every single one. The only guy who has gotten real separation was Slayton. Even Shepard wasn't getting any. And Ingram's not getting any. There's been no separation from these wide receivers.
Yeah. This offense is too talented to have been held to 0 points against the Bears. They're too talented. So Golden Tate needs to go out there, have a game, because this is the game the Giants need to win. Because they're 0-2. Then we're going to hear that whole, teams free make the playoffs. We're already hearing enough 0-2. Giants need to go out there, win this game, and Golden Tate needs to be a factor if we are going to go out there and win this game.
Yeah. So, all right, you got Tate. I've got Peppers. Justin has Blake Martinez. All right, quick picks. Justin and the listeners are in first place at 11-5.
Yes.
Good week last week for Justin went 7-1. That was the best week.
Boom.
Myself and Danny are 10-6, so it's very tight. We've got no one that's being this will all be jumbled up. That being said, we're gonna start with Thursday Night Football. Dolphins, Jaguars. The listeners went Jags. Justin, who do you got?
I'm so mad you put this game on because this is
I'm putting Thursday Night Football every week.
All right, so that's a good heads up. This is such like a toss-up game. You know what? I was listening to the Michael Kay show today. Don LaGreca was describing how he was in the shower, and he got a good feeling about the Dolphins. So I'm going to trust the gut of Don LaGreca. Give me the Dolphins and Fitzmagic.
I'm going Dolphins too. I've liked what Gardner Minshew has done, but I just feel like the Dolphins actually played the Bills and Patriots decently well. So I got them going 1-2. I'm going Dolphins. Danny, who do you got?
So I'm not going to trust the gut of Don, whatever I'm going to butcher that name. I'm not going to move to attempt it. Don LaGreca. I'm going to butcher it. So I'm going to take the Jaguars.
Got a very big gut, so it might be a trustworthy gut.
I mean, hey, big guts usually have that good opinion, but I can't doubt Minshew mania. The guy's a beast. The Jaguars are going to go out there, beat the Dolphins, and then Tua, my prediction, will start next week.
Yeah, robbing us of Tua. Screw you, Brian Flores. Titans, Vikings. This before the season would have been like, ooh, that's a really nice matchup. Now the Vikings are struggling. The listeners went Titans. Justin, a big Kirk Cousins fan who has been trashed this year. Who are you going?
I'm blaming Gary Kubiak, by the way. It's not Kirk Cousins' fault. I'm done with the Vikings. I think they were like my only loss last week, so I'm done. Give me the more efficient quarterback. I am now more of a Ryan Tannehill stan than I am of Kirk Cousins. So guess what? Give me the efficient Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans.
You have a love affair with quarterbacks who like only are good when their running game is balling.
I do. You're right.
Wait, Justin, did you have say some good things about Gary Kubiak last week, and then Bobby said that's the bad part about Minnesota? Was that last
screw
week?
him. Screw Gary Kubiak. I'm done.
You're done with him?
I'm done.
He won the Super Bowl.
Screw him.
You won a great. All right, so I guess I'll just go next. Give me Tennessee. I believed in the Vikings last week, and they let me down pretty dramatically. So yeah, give me Ryan Tannehill, who does nothing, and Derrick Henry that does everything. Yeah,
I kind of wanted to zag on this, but Titans are just a clearly better team than them, even though they struggled with Denver in week 1. I'm going Titans. This one should be fun. Rams, Bills. Listeners went Bills. Danny, who do you got?
Circle the wagons, baby. Give me the Buffalo Bills in this way. I think this might be an upset. Will this be considered an upset? I think it would be because I feel like the Rams are quite good. And then give me circle the wagons, baby. Give me Buffalo.
Justin?
Gosh, because the Bills arguably have top 5 most talented roster in the NFL, and Josh Allen is actually playing at an MVP level right now.
Josh Allen's balling.
But you look at the level of competition. They haven't exactly played good teams to start out the season. God, I hate to do this because I kind of just want to be different, but also I love the Bills. Give me the LA Rams. They've played some good teams to start the season. They went into Dallas. They beat Dallas. Give me the LA Rams.
I probably would go Rams, but Josh Allen has just been balling on another level, and that it's solely off Josh Allen, not the Bills' talent. The Rams are a more talented team to me, but I just feel like Josh Allen, the Bills, I feel like are just a winning team. Goff, like, is he a winner? I don't know. I'm going Josh Allen and the Bills. Bears, Falcons. I'm going Falcons. The Falcons are putting up points. Their defense is horrible, but I like the Falcons offense more than I like the Bears defense, so I'm going Falcons. Justin?
I'm checking in because the Falcons actually, it looks like they actually ran the ball a little bit last week. Their pass rate is down to 63%. That's pretty low for them. Pretty sure it was up at 70%. The Giants are the most pass-happy team in the NFL right now. Fun fact, helps when you can't run the ball. But I am going to go with
come for the next few weeks.
Yeah, really. I am going to go with the Falcons as well.
Danny?
I'm gonna go with the Bears. The Falcons just gave vibes last week when they socially distanced on a topic. Give me the Bears this one. Give me Mr. Trubisky.
All right. Steelers, Texans. Texans, I'm totally out. Losing DeAndre Hopkins has screwed them. Steelers.
Texans have been a mess. Give me Steelers.
All right, so everyone goes Steelers there. Cowboys, Seahawks. The Seahawks, Russell Wilson has been playing at an MVP level. He's got 9 touchdowns this year. And I don't believe in the Cowboys, so I'm going Seahawks. Listening to Seahawks. You guys both going Seahawks?
Yeah, Cowboys should have lost last week. Let Russ cook, baby.
Let Russ cook. Do you think of that all on your own? All right. Packers,
Yeah.
Saints. This is a big game. I usually am not like for hot takes, but I honestly think the Saints would be better off with Jameis Winston. Drew Brees does not look good. His arm is done.
It's getting hot in here right now.
That is a Super Bowl roster. It reminds me of Peyton Manning his last year in Denver. Not to say, Drew Brees is obviously a smarter, more, obviously like his career is better, but he cannot move the ball downfield and he's missing guys. I think the Saints eventually would need to go to Jameis. You got to move on from Brees. He's done it for this year. That being said, I just feel like the Saints are going to pull this one out, even though I'm really high on Aaron Rodgers. Danny?
See, I'm not sure. I think the Saints right now obviously struggle because they don't have Michael Thomas. That's obviously not a crazy take, but that's just Drew Brees loves Michael Thomas. So without Michael Thomas, the Saints aren't as good. But give me the Packers because the Saints are missing Michael Thomas. They lost to the Raiders. I don't feel good with the Saints right now. So Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur, they're going to go out there. The question is, do the Packers have Devontae Adams? So while the Saints might be without Michael Thomas, they might be out with their star receiver in Devontae Adams. But I think Aaron Rodgers finds a way to get it done on Sunday night in the dome, even though there's no fans in the dome. So there's no effect on him. So give me the Packers.
Justin, we got to go quicker through these for next week, guys. Justin?
Yeah, I'm going with Packers too. Saints, you even just watched the Saints even week 1. They just weren't playing like the New Orleans Saints usually do, and the Packers are just playing on an other world level right now. Aaron Rodgers has proven a lot of people wrong that doubted him. So give me the Packers.
The best Monday Night Football since Chiefs-Rams 2 years ago. We got Chiefs-Ravens. I'm going Ravens at home. Their offense is great. I think their defense is actually going to give Patrick Mahomes some struggles. I'm going Ravens. Listeners went Chiefs. Justin?
Give me Chiefs.
Chiefs. Danny?
I'm with Justin. Give me the Chiefs.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Game predictions. Danny, go.
49ers are what? 4-point favorites. They haven't lost anything with all their star players gone. Obviously, I'm picking the Giants to win because I feel like this is a game they should win. 17-10, Giants win it.
Justin?
I think the 49ers win. I'm sorry. I got so emotionally invested in. I know I'm a loser. I really am a loser. And I hope I'm wrong because I got so emotionally invested in it last week. There's too much unknown. I got to give a score. I think it's going to be nasty. 17-10, 49ers.
So you picked the same score as Danny.
Wait, yeah, sorry. Can I go 17-13? Sure,
Well,
I'll go 17-13.
He picked the Giants to win, so it's
Giants,
it's
doesn't
technically
matter.
not the same score. So you got 17-10. 17-10 points? How dare
Yeah.
you?
I'm down.
I honestly think we're winning this game. Like, not like a joking around. I actually think we're winning this game. I think Daniel Jones is primed to have a big game. I'm going Giants 77, 49ers 0.
That seems like a more realistic score in my opinion than Justin's only 10 points. So
And I'll have people. Honestly, it is more realistic. This offense is closer to 77 points than it is 10 points. That's a real take right there. Because we're going to score 41.
exactly.
Even though that's not technically not closer, it's close.
They'll score
and it's
41 in the
point
first
being
half.
made is we'll be scoring points. All right, that's a show. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back Monday, Monday morning, Sunday night for the Patreon crowd. Let's get us a freaking win. Let's hear this. Some people have not heard the intro song after a win. So let's do it. We'll see you guys then. Enjoy your weekend. Go get some sun. It's going to get cold here soon. Not in Florida, but wherever you probably are. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you Monday. Until then, let's go Big Blue.